Hey there, and welcome. Now, before we dive into this, I have to give you a quick heads up. Some of what we will be talking about might sound a little intense, like put the kids to bed kind of intense. So, if you're feeling a bit vulnerable or just not in the mood to confront some pretty jarring facts, this might be a good time to stop watching. No hard feelings. But if you're open-minded and willing to look at some classic texts with a fresh pair of eyes, stick around. We're not here to attack anyone's faith. We're just here to read and analyze the best-selling book. And I am not asking you to take my word for it, cause I will be dropping the exact references in the description so you can check every single claim yourself. Ready? Let's do this. So, picture Earth, way back when people had a bunch of gods, like one for the sun, one for the rain, one for making sure your crops didn't get eaten by bugs. It was a whole divine pantheon, a cosmic circus. But over time, some cultures decided, you know what? Let's streamline this. And they moved to the idea of a single, all-powerful God. A cosmic CEO, if you will. And this changes everything. I mean, think about it. If you have got one supreme being who claims total power over life and death, that being can lay down some serious non-negotiable laws. No committee meetings, no voting, just a top-down, unquestionable rule book. So, when you actually sit down and read some of these sacred books, you start to notice a pattern of commands, punishments, and mass death that looks less like a loving parent and more like, well, a tyrant. A ruler who won't be questioned and who definitely doesn't take constructive criticism. Let's start at the beginning. You probably heard the story of the Great Flood. God looked down at humanity and basically said, you know what? This just isn't working for me. So he decided to hit the cosmic reset button and wipe out almost everything on the planet. Noah and his family got a lifeboat. Good for them. And the rest of humanity, plus every other living, breathing creature, just gets a one-way ticket to a very wet demise. The text is pretty clear on this. It literally says, God will destroy every living creature that breathes. It's in Genesis chapter 6 through 8. I mean, that's not a request. That's a final, absolute decision. It reads like the ultimate war order from a commander who can just clean the entire map with a single stroke. Then we've got the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember this one? Fire and sulfur raining down from the sky. It sounds like a biblical gender reveal party gone horribly wrong. The passage describes smoke rising from the ruins like a giant furnace. It's a scene that looks less like a soft-spoken sermon and more like a final, unappealable judgment. The victims aren't just a few people. We are talking entire towns, all for, you know what? Just read Genesis 19 for the full report. And don't even get me started on the plagues of Egypt. This is a story of divine negotiation. And let's just say God is not a great negotiator. Every time the Pharaoh doesn't bend, the punishment gets crazier. We've got boils, frogs, a river turning into blood, and then, for the grand finale, the final plague. The death of every single firstborn in Egypt, human and animal. I mean, that is not a subtle hint. It's public, large-scale suffering presented in the text as a tool to force a ruler's hand. In simple terms, divine blackmail. And if that wasn't enough, we've got the holy war directives. You probably heard of the city of Jericho. It is the one that fell after a bunch of people marched around it and blew trumpets. Then, according to Joshua, they devoted the city and all that is in it to the Lord for destruction. And that is just the start. Other passages literally command the annihilation of entire peoples, like the time God reportedly ordered King Saul to attack the Amalekites and destroy everything: men, women, children, and animals. These are not veiled suggestions. This is direct, no mercy language. The text treats these commands as binding. So if anyone tells you that the sacred books forbid violence, you might want to ask them about those passages. But wait, there is more. The New Testament gives us the ultimate cosmic incentive program: eternal reward and eternal punishment. You've got passages in Matthew that talk about a judge separating people like sheep from goats and sending some away to eternal punishment. And then Revelation brings it home with a lake of fire. The issue with this is that when a faith promises eternal joy for obedience and eternal suffering for disobedience, that's not just a suggestion. That pairing of promise and threat is the most powerful incentive program ever invented. It shapes behavior more than 1,000 self-help books ever could. And hey, just so you don't think that I'm picking on one faith, this pattern shows up in a bunch of other places too. The Quran has verses about fighting and rewards for fighters. The Bhagavad Gita literally has a divine voice telling a warrior to fight his own family for the sake of duty. It is a pattern, guys. The theme appears in different forms, but the effect can be similar. Now, here's the kicker. Words on a page are just words on a page. They are like a car without an engine. They need a driver. And for centuries, the drivers have been the people in power. Constantine made Christianity part of his empire. The Crusades were launched with calls to holy war. The Spanish Inquisition used religion to police belief and consolidate power. You can see the pattern, can't you? Want loyalty and manpower for war? Just call it a holy cause. Want to silence critics? Call them heretics. Want land and treasure? Promise heaven to your soldiers. It works a little too well. Let's quickly engage in a mental exercise. Think about the persona of a tyrant. A tyrant claims absolute power. They punish dissent. They reward loyalty. They use fear to keep people in line. Now, read those passages we just talked about. The ones with absolute commands and threats of eternal punishment. The ones with war orders that say, destroy everything. The structure looks uncannily similar. The main difference is that a tyrant is a human ruler, and a sacred text claims a divine ruler. That claim gives it an extra layer of, don't even think about questioning this. I've had these conversations before, and people always have the same few counter-arguments. Let's tackle the most popular ones. The first is the context card. People say, oh, that verse only applied to a specific time and place. But here is the thing. Many of these passages are written in clear legal style language without limits. They read like standing orders. Saying that context saves every violent command is just asking us to ignore what is right there on the page. The second is the it's a metaphor defense. Those verses are poetic or symbolic. Seriously, plagues, war orders, and lists of victims don't exactly read like a sonnet. They read like commands and reports. Treating them as mere metaphors requires some serious mental gymnastics. The third is the sequel's better argument. But later texts fix the problem. The newer ones are kinder. Okay, funny? While some later texts may soften the tone, the older, harsher stuff is still in the book, and people read the whole book. You can't just erase the moral weight of earlier commands by pointing to a later sequel without explaining who gets to decide which parts of the story we just throw out. And the third, which literally cracks me up all the time, the humans messed it up theory. The words reflect human culture, not God. This is actually a pretty plausible scholarly position, but if you buy it, then sacred text can't be a single, unquestionable moral guide. It means you have to use your own human judgment to pick and choose. And if you're doing that, what is the point of the book being the final authority anyway? And finally, the blame the translator gambit. The translations and copies garbled the meaning. Yeah, well, multiple major translations across languages and centuries all have the same core commands. But don't blame the messenger when every version says the same thing. You can easily check this yourself. Okay, so this isn't just an academic debate. People have actually suffered because of this stuff. We are talking about doubt leading to being shunned by your family, dissent leading to being exiled from your community, holy war producing dead bodies. The history is there. If a community treats obedience as the highest duty and uses threats to enforce it, people pay a price with their freedom and sometimes with their lives. So, here's my final test for you. Would you obey an order to harm someone if you thought that order came from God? If the answer is yes, then you need to think about why you believe that obedience trumps your own moral compass. And if the answer is no, are you ready to face the social fallout that might come with that decision? Both are honest answers, and honesty matters more than a safe answer. One last thing before you go. If you found this interesting, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It really helps the channel out. If you keep your faith after watching this, just be honest about the hard parts. Don't shy away from them. If you decide to walk away, do it soberly and thoughtfully. And if you are too scared to even ask these questions, just try this. Name that fear out loud. Naming it gives you back your power. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.